Community connections, CKMS, local sounds, thoughts, passions, and success. Celebrate local, your neighbor's got a story to tell. Community connections, CKMS.
Happy Friday, Waterloo Region. You're listening to CKMS Community Connections for Friday, the 27th of September, 2024. My name is Bob Jonkman. In the studio, we have Tony Salomone from the Saskatones, and on the phone, we have Paige Warner, Kylie Fox, and Laurie Yates. We'll be talking to them in just a few minutes. We're going to listen to Solar Wind from the Saskatones to start off with. Solar Wind by the Saskatones. Got Tony Salomone in the studio. Sorry, I got it wrong anyways.
You said it right before.
I did. And I've got Paige Warner, Laurie Yates, and Kylie Fox on the telephone, who are in a bit of a hurry because they've got to get here for a show that they're doing at the, is it called the Ridgeview? I can't remember the location. Where are you at, Paige?
Midnight Run.
Midnight Run, coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. It's the old...
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay, but get there early because I expect that it'll be a pretty crowded venue tonight. Welcome.
Yeah, for sure. Are you coming?
I might just drop by. You never know. It's always nice to listen to live music. Especially,
yeah, and it's a great show.
Especially from local musicians, because you're a KW native, aren't you, Paige?
Yeah, I was raised just outside of Waterloo until I was like 23, so it's in my blood.
No. Welcome back to Kitchener-Waterloo. Welcome back to CKMS Community Connections.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, and with you is Laurie Yates.
Hi there. How's it going?
Pretty good. You're not a Waterloo native, but welcome to Waterloo.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and Kylie Fox is there too.
Hello.
Hello. So you're touring together. But you're not touring, you're not playing together. You're touring as three individuals just on tour together. How does that work?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a songwriter showcase almost. Each of us does our own sets of originals. But I think we're all friends of each other now. So we're staying together for the rest of the show. Yeah. But yeah, we're each doing a set and we're joining it together. People get, three good acts in one show.
Yeah. How did you get together? I mean, how did that come to be?
Well, the music industry in Canada, the longer that you're in it, the smaller it gets, the more friends you make. And the three of us have some mutual connections. And
Sometimes there's divine timing that brings the right people together at the right time, right place. And what's cool about the show is that you get to see 3 different artists and all of our perspectives kind of right side by side, like how the things that are the similar and the things that really set us apart and make us kind of the individuals, our own kind of spirit of creativity. So it is a great show. We're all storytellers, so you'll get to hear the stories behind the songs that we want to share, and it's kind of a good bang for your buck if you want to, hear some new music, and in one concert you get to hear 3 new acts.
Yeah, so it's really like getting 3 concerts for the price of 1.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So when you started out touring, how did it start off? There's the 3 of you that, I don't know if you've met before the tour or not, but it's the first time that you've played on a stage, sequentially, if not together. There must have been some stumbling blocks.
Well, I met Lori at a Canadian Music Week, and Paige and I worked together. We met through the industry, and we played together in June in Perry Sound. So, like I said, kind of the more you tour and you share stage with the other artists, the more connections you make, and then, this was able to get put together. So this is our 3rd show out of 9.
3rd show, and you're doing 9. So you've been on tour just in Ontario?
Yeah. As far east as Ottawa, as far south as Port Dover, and as far north as Owen Sound.
Okay. That's a good little circuit to do. How long is it taking? How many days on the tour for you?
9 total.
9 performance dates. Are you doing one show right after the other, or are you taking little breaks in between?
Most of them are right after each other. We have a couple days that are travel days, but other than that, they're all back to back.
Wow, that's a hectic schedule.
It's fun. It's easy to travel around with these 2. They're pretty cool humans, so it's been a ball.
Cool. Often hear about bands touring together. People who have been playing together forever, and it's the tours that break them apart because of the differences that they discover when they're on tour.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen here. We're stuck for life now.
Good. Is there a chance of there ever being a threesome? A band of the 3 of you playing together?
I don't think so. Like, we each have our own unique thing going, and I think that's why this show works so well, because we're all so different that it just brings, a little different flavor for each set. And, we might, if you come to the show, you can find out, but we might just pop up at the end for a song together, but you have to be there to find out.
Ah, okay.
Prize goes to whoever guesses what song it's going to be.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, we're also in different parts of Canada. I'm coming from New Brunswick, so it just logistically wouldn't make any sense for the 3 of us to become a band.
Right, they'd be traveling all the time for somebody.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Kylie, you've got a new album out. Your album is called Sequoia.
Yeah, I do.
Wow. What's on it? I mean, I've got a track queued up here that's called Alberta. What else have you got on the album there?
Well, Alberta's a great song. It's about being a tree planter out west. The album, the kind of the symbol of a sequoia tree is what started me writing the album. The sequoia tree, there was a radio show on the news about how a sequoia tree was on fire, and it just had me thinking about how we take things for granted sometimes. So the album is about gratitude, different stories. There's a great song about having a friend and losing touch and not being at their wedding. That's one of the ones I love. There's a couple of cool jazz poppy songs that are very in the realm of Sesame Street that I've been really liking. A couple songs that are about I found a partner during my writing time. I found one. I hunted one down. And so there's also some songs there about kind of learning to be in a relationship and to learn how to love and how to care for someone and not take them for granted and, really see all of the awesome things they're doing for you and give those in return.
Yeah. Let's have a listen to Alberta by Kylie Fox, which you can catch again tonight at 8 p.m. And the venue is called?
Midnight Run Cafe.
Midnight Run Cafe up in Uptown Waterloo. This is Kylie Fox.
The roads are long and the roads are straight. No gas stations or corner stores. Just trees on trees on trees on trees on billboards. Though the sky is wide and the sun is hot, oh how I miss the winding hills of British Columbia. Though the work it was hard and the mountains they were cold, still I had arms to hold around me. I'm worried about Alberta. A friend should follow to this flat land. He'd work the rigs, she'd make him casseroles, and he'd say, please, oh please, oh please, oh, please come home. But he'd show up late and his eyes were glazed. Oh how she missed the windy freedom of the Maritimes. Though I've come here with my pack to work hard for a dime, the nearest lake is my ocean, and I'm worried about Alberta. You've got a really pretty face. Come on over and we'll talk a while. Oh tease, oh tease, oh tease, oh tease this tall child. Though your gaze was vague and you grew tired, let's to collapse into your hopeful possibility. Your broad shoulders and your back, weathered by the rain, can't shelter children from this province. I could tell you will worry about Alberta. I've been driving for an hour next to a blonde and beautied passenger, and she cries, please, oh please, oh please, oh please, Father, I paid you back. I've got no cash, but I'm making stories that how dare you try to save me from. I pull over finally to a bar in Canyon Creek where Judy tells us that we're butterflies. I forgive you, Alberta. I'll fly away soon, Alberta.
Alberta by Kylie Fox. Live in the studio, live on the telephone. Nicely done, Kylie. Hope to listen to you tonight.
Thank you so much.
I saw on the website that there is a page called getoffthebusconcerts.com/golddustwomen.
Yeah.
So you've got a group name. You've got a band name, Gold Dust Women.
Well, we're just calling the tour Gold Dust Women because the tour name Laura Yates, Kylie Fox, and Paige Warner was a little too long.
Yes, I actually discovered that trying to put the title into the YouTube live video here. Didn't fit.
Yeah, exactly. So we just shortened it to a pretty name.
Good. It's a nice name. It's a nice name. Why Gold
Thank
Dust?
you.
Are you in Gold Dust territory?
It's just part of, it's after a song that we all really like by Fleetwood Mac, and we thought it was kind of appropriate. And it's, it has to do with some, fairy dust, magical dust, and we figured the combination of us three women sounds kind of magical, and so, leaves a little mystique to the tour, I guess.
Yeah.
We hope.
I think it does. I think it does. It intrigues me at any rate.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So you've come from New Brunswick. This is Lori.
This is Lori. No, from Toronto.
You're
Don't
from-
hate me.
Oh.
From Toronto. Yeah, it's actually you can go ahead and hate me because I'm from Toronto. That's okay.
Toronto is local enough. That's
Yeah.
almost home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been doing this for a while. You've been Juno nominated.
I have. Yeah. Juno nominated, Polaris Prize, Canadian Country Music Awards, 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards nominations. And I'm not dead yet. It's my birthday today. But I'm getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep on going, though.
Thank you. I hope to. I hope to squeeze out a couple more good years at least, right?
Yeah.
And at least perform tonight. A day at a time. Right? So never know what tomorrow brings.
Exactly. Give it all you've got while you've still got it to give.
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
You've got a new album out too?
I do. It's been out for a while because I've been releasing single by single via Spotify. So I started with the first single back in October of last year, so it's almost a year. I released the second to last single today. It's been a long process, but it's been a year of working this record called Matador, and it's done pretty well for me. I've sold a lot of CD copies that, some people predicted that I shouldn't make CD copies because nobody buys them, but a lot of people have bought them, and it's done pretty well for me. Yeah, I'm happy with it.
You can't get the artist's signature on an MP3 file.
Right? I know, right?
Yeah.
People want to have something to hold in their hands, I find. They really do. And for independent artists, it's really important that we be able to have something that shows that we can sell and or people can buy because, the streaming services, there's so many artists and so much music being released every day. I think to the tune of 220,000 songs per day that, we're all getting rich from Spotify. You know that, right?
Well,
so it's really great that we always urge and any audience member to buy directly from the artist because we get the money. We get the money, and we appreciate every cent of it, of course.
Of all the streaming services, I think Spotify is probably the one that has the lowest return for the artist.
Absolutely, I think they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So, go out, support your local artist by buying the merch, buying the CDs, and coming out to the concerts.
Totally. It seems to be it's not a dying art, but it's definitely a changing art. So, in these kind of changing post-pandemic, financial times, it's a little bit different, I think. People are really feeling the squeeze in the pocketbook, so we appreciate when people come out for sure.
Yeah,
we absolutely do.
That'll be at Midnight Run tonight at 8 o'clock. I've got something queued up for you too called Rage Within Me.
Yes, Rage Against the Machine Within Me. No,
that's what I was going to say. That was almost on the tip of my tongue there.
Yeah, Rage Within Me. Yes. Thank you.
Is there a bit of background to that?
Well, It's a tune of a style of tune that I write called Ontario Appalachia. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a folk story of a young gal who's sort of in trouble, but she's got a good mom to go home to, and it's her speaking in first person. She's troubled. She's also angry about the situation she's in. So that's what the story is. And I've got the great Jimmy Bowskill playing pedal steel in the background.
Always the famous pedal steel players. I hear that a lot. Bringing in somebody, the big names to do the pedal steel. Let's have a listen to that. That's Rage Within Me by Laurie Yates.
Thank you.
Oh, mama, mama, just come and hold me tight. I'm scared of the darkness, the way I feel tonight. There's a baby in my belly, growing stronger every day. I feel on spreading away. Mom, he was a hothead and a hustler, not good enough for me. Some secrets come from heaven, those are hard to keep. Presence of mind gets left behind, the things we cannot speak. The rage within me is there to guide me. The rage within me points me due north. The rage within me is there to guide me. The rage within me, it sets my course. Oh, mama, mama, tell me to be strong. You send money for me that I will be back where I belong. Tell me just to come on home. You got a bed all made up. Tell me this will pass in time. I'm just down on my luck. Rage within me is there to guide me. Rage within me points me due north. The rage within me is there to guide me. The rage within me, it sets my course. Oh, mama, mama. 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 Oh, mama,
Some nice traditional country music from Laurie Yates. That was called Rage Within Me. And we have the third of the Gold Dust Women. That's Paige Warner. Paige, welcome back to CKMS Community Connections.
Thanks for having me back. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Nice to have you on tour here. I think the last time you were here, there was no tour associated with your coming to Waterloo. So good to have you playing in the area.
Yeah, it's really good to be back. I love being able to see everyone while I'm there too. So, it feels like home.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're playing from the album that you had out last year.
Yeah, so I just released my album in August. So we're like a month and a half from release now.
So that's another album that you released in bits and pieces throughout the year.
Yeah, I had the first single released last year and singles in the spring and the summer leading up to it. So it's been a while in the making, but I'm happy to have the full project out now.
Yeah. Does it help having individual tracks coming out one at a time? Is that something of a marketing plan?
Yeah, I think it does help marketing, but I also really enjoy the visual part of putting songs out. Like, I really enjoy working on videos with producers and having like different images and stuff that go along with it. So putting out singles just lets me make a story for that song by itself rather than getting kind of grouped in and washed out by the album as a whole. It just lets it have its own moment, I guess.
Right. Does it help you identify which ones are the popular ones on the album? You know, the ones that could stand alone as singles?
I think so, yeah. Like, the singles tend to be a bit more radio friendly, I would say. But I don't know. It's always a surprise when an album comes out, you know. Sometimes songs end up being the audience's favorite that you didn't expect. So I don't know if I can fully predict that ever.
Yeah. You find that the live audiences that you're playing to are behaving or reacting differently from the way that they've been listening to your streaming offerings?
Yeah, I think it depends on the setting. Like, this tour, some of my softer or sadder songs really can have their own moment and shine, whereas the more upbeat pop type ones, like straightforward pop tunes, do really well online. You know, people like to have just happy music in the background of their life a lot of the time, so it makes sense.
Yeah. What have you got queued up for us today? It's from It's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, it's called Stockholm Syndrome. So for those not familiar with what that is, it's when you fall in love with your kidnapper. I was explaining this to Kylie yesterday, and we were both like, this is dark, but yeah, it's when you fall in love with your kidnapper. So I had a really toxic relationship, and I was, you know, thinking I was in love with that person, even though they completely away from everything, and it was not a song out of it. So yeah, that's what this is.
That's a good thing. You want to be
Yeah, I will be, actually. Mm-hmm. In a strict, intimate setting.
Yeah, I guess when you don't have an accompanying band with you on the tour, do you?
No, we're all playing solo, just our acoustic guitars and our voices. So it's pretty unique, too. All three of us typically play with full bands. So this is kind of like a little special moment, I think, in our careers for people to hear us strip down. And yeah, it's all very cozy and intimate, and yeah, it's a relaxed vibe, really.
And the whole tour is taking place in those small venues like that.
Yeah, we intentionally did that. We just wanted it to feel really cozy, like you're playing for people in their living room. So every venue is small, and they're beautiful venues too. So it's a good show.
It seems to be a popular thing nowadays. I've been hearing from other musicians too that they're looking to play in the small venues rather than the huge concert stages. You know, arenas. Nobody does arenas anymore.
Yeah, I think very few musicians are able to sell arenas anymore. So the small venues are what keep us going. And it's nice to play to a really warm room, you know, that's full of friendly faces. They don't get lost in the crowd. You know, you feel like you know everyone in the audience after the show.
Right. Okay, so that's you're going to be playing tonight, 8 o'clock at the Midnight Run Cafe, Uptown Waterloo. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, so it's Paige Warner, Laurie Yates, and Kylie Fox, all together, the Gold Dust Women. I'm going to have a tune here from Paige Warner called Stockholm Syndrome, and then they can get out of here and manage to make it into Waterloo to be on the stage in time for 8 o'clock tonight.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys at the show. Thanks so much, Bob.
Paige, Laurie, and Kylie, thank you so much for being on CKMS Community Connections.
See you there.
See you there.
Come down, get a budgie.
This is Stockholm Syndrome by Paige Warner.
I obeyed your screams. Nothing new to me. Tried not to bleed. Feeling guilty. I wanted more, but such a smooth intoxication made this poison taste like love, made me believe my altar's at your feet. Stockholm syndrome, it's all part of that. Stockholm syndrome, it's all part of that. Stockholm syndrome, the devil's made a great case for my love. You played the hero, a villain you said you did not know, hand fed me home, a sugar-coated new low. When I tried to leave, you said the perfect thing that'll drown all my reality. Still tried to go, but your lies had a hold on my soul. Stockholm syndrome, it's a part of that. Stockholm syndrome, it's a part of that. Stockholm syndrome, the devil's made a great case for my love. Stockholm syndrome, it's a part of that. Stockholm syndrome, it's a part of that. Stockholm syndrome, the devil's made a great case for my love. Stockholm syndrome, it's all part of that. Stockholm syndrome, it's all part of that. Stockholm syndrome, the devil's made a great case for my love. Stockholm syndrome, it's all part of that. Stockholm syndrome, it's all part of that. Stockholm syndrome, the devil's made a great case for my
Stockholm Syndrome by Paige Warner, who's appearing at the Midnight Run Cafe tonight, along with Kylie Fox and Laurie Yates, 8 p.m. Get up there and support your local artists. Speaking of local artists, we've also got Tony Salomone in the studio from the Saskatones.
That is correct.
Hey, Tony. CKMS Community Connections. Welcome back to CKMS.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You are a DJ from I don't know, a decade ago?
Yeah, it was about 15 years ago, I think.
15 years
That's
ago.
when I last did Dadmobile Radio here. I was on the air for most of the zeros. I don't know what we call that decade.
Yeah, the knots, the aughts.
The knots, the aughts, yeah. Yeah, so it was actually a show on local music back then. And
Yeah.
it was a good scene at the time.
We need one of those. So come back and do that for us again.
Yeah, I'm probably not the right person anymore. You know, like back then I was out at shows a lot, several times a week, and really committed and diving in, and super interested. There's lots going on right now, but somebody's got to pick up that torch and run with it, I think.
Yeah. And I don't think that's me either, because as I was telling Paige Warner just a few minutes ago and Laurie, I'm culturally uncultured. I don't know what the good stuff is that's being played out there today.
You just got to go out there and you know, have an open mind, I guess.
Yeah.
There's KW is weirder than you think, you know. It seems like it's on the surface. There's a lot of like usual stuff you see everywhere, but if you dig a little bit, there's a lot of weird stuff.
Known for blues.
Yeah, like I said, you know, and we have a blues festival, and
Yeah.
there's a pretty broad spectrum of blues artists in town who've been doing it for ages. But we also have, with the universities, you kind of get this rotating cast of people coming in and out of town, which is both good and bad. It keeps things fresh, but it also means, you know, whatever's going on in the 2020s, there's someone bringing it in right now. Yeah, so it's,
I know there's some local bands, some metal bands in the neighborhood, a couple of oi punk bands, which I find exceptionally intriguing. I didn't realize that my tastes might run towards oi punk.
Yeah, and that's changed from what it was back in the 80s too. I don't think things kind of get rehashed and,
I suppose.
and changed to map with the times now. Kitchener has always had a solid punk scene, for 40 years. Yeah, it's been one consistent thing in this town.
Yeah, I had the Summerfest here. I don't know if that's still an ongoing thing.
Oh yeah, I saw a couple of years ago. Yeah, they were still doing stuff uptown, and pretty much every year. But there's always. It seems it's like starts out of like house shows or smaller. They were talking about how doing shows in smaller venues is more of a trend, and that's where you get the energy and the vibe and the do-it-yourself sort of thing. And there's always been that aesthetic in town. Kitchener is awesome for that. So.
Yeah. And now you're on the other side. You're doing the performances. You're with the Saskatones.
Yeah, it's been a journey. Saskatones have been like technically this has been a band for 2 decades, but it's always for me been kind of a side project, a solo project that I was doing while I was in other bands that were actually touring and playing. And then partly pandemic happened and it just kind of shut things down. Like there was nobody doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and start doing these songs I was doing for the Saskatones again. And I figured, hey, I got some friends who are in the same position, right? They got nothing to do for music right now. We're all stuck at home. You guys want to help me actually make these recordings, which is what led to Mercury, our latest release, which is hopefully the first of many. Mm-hmm. But we kind of came out of that and we wrote a whole bunch of songs, and then we came out of pandemic and life went back to normal, and I was like, hey, we should probably do something with this now. And so this is neat. It's been like this long running solo project of mine where now I get to play with like a couple of my favorite musicians I've gotten to play with or supporting me on this. And we're taking the show on the road, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the Saskatones implies Saskatoon.
Yeah, so this was a bit of a gag back in the day. I don't know. It depends on where you look up the Saskatones online. There might be a biography implying we're from Saskatoon. Mm-hmm. This used to be my angle. So when I started the Saskatones, I was in, 2 other bands that were playing shows. And so it was sort of a solo thing. I was trying not to like make it a distraction to what we were doing or whatever. So I made this whole fake persona, fake band. It was just me, but the fake band had like 3 people in it, and they were all from Saskatoon. I think they were ex-hockey players or something, and working in a donut shop. And so that was the story. But sadly, we're actually from Kitchener, and I'm happy to be from Kitchener. But if you were getting into the Saskatones because they're called the Saskatones, I'm going to disappoint you.
Yeah.
I think this is a rich history in surf music. Just looking up other bands that sound like us, I found one called the Hamiltones.
Oh,
and so I was excited. I was like, oh man, these guys also write surf music about space. And I assumed they're from Hamilton, but no, they're not. They're from Buffalo. So I don't know. Just taking a place you don't live and putting tone on the end is a surf thing to do.
Which is odd that the people from those places haven't done so themselves, because it seems, if not obvious, at least a good hook into a band name.
Absolutely. So there was another band called the Saskatones at one point.
Oh, really?
I tried figuring out stuff about them. They kind of came and went, so I think they were very short-lived. But they were in Florida.
No way.
So that is like even farther from Saskatoon.
Yeah. And Saskatoon themselves haven't got a Saskatoons band at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too bad.
Don't know if you could do that kind of thing with Kitchener or Waterloo.
I was just thinking
Kitchen
about that when you
tones,
said that.
the water tones. I don't know. Either of those names have the same mellifluousness that the
at least we have
Saskatoons
water in our name. The funny thing about being a surf band, ostensibly from Saskatoon, is you're really far from surfing anywhere.
Yeah.
Down the Saskatchewan River or something. Yeah. But I don't think there's.
Why surf music?
I've always loved it. There was sort of a surf revival in Canada. This is going back a ways, like. I'm thinking early 90s, late. Well, okay, the Kids in the Hall, right, were on TV, and they had Shadowy Man on a Shadowy Planet were the band that played all the music on the show, and so that was probably one of the first introductions I got into that sort of thing. But even back then, even on Much Music, you would see Canadian surf music get a bit of play, and bands like Huevos Rancheros and stuff used to come up there. So that was my initial interest, and I don't know, I always just loved retro, early rock and roll that kind of sound. Always had an interest in that. And surf sort of had this crossover with like movies and stuff. Like a lot of the bands, you know, have allusions to like horror movies and stuff from that day. So I don't know. It's just something I've always been interested in. And this was, you know, I never had maybe the chops to do like the old just straight surf thing. So I was, I'm going to figure out how to make surf music and add my own like modern touch to it. I like to play synths, so I'm going to add a bunch of synths to the songs. And
Synth surf. That's, a new genre, perhaps.
Yeah.
We started off the show with Solar Wind, which seemed kind of mellow for surf music.
Yeah, you know, that's true. I guess it's the most mellow of the 3 songs on the new EP we have. But there's always there's a few kind of staple types of songs in surf, and I feel like it fits into one of those staples. The other 2 songs on the album are definitely more upbeat, but you're right. You know, you think of surfing, you think of like lots of toms and party music, and so
the Dick Dale guitar.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. The rumbling, crashing wave reverb sort of thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, there's been waves of surf revival and whatever. It's gone every direction. So Try. Plus, you know, this is about the planet Mercury. That's what this album's supposed to be about, and. You know, we had to capture the spirit of Solar Wind, whatever the heck that sounds like.
If you want to get solar winds, you're going to get lots of them on Mercury.
So, and that's the goal. So this album's supposed to be about Mercury. It's, you know, it's inspired by the weirdness that is the planet Mercury, and it's meant to be the first in a series.
Working your way down the planets?
Yeah, we're starting here. We've got, we already wrote Venus, Mars. I got tunes for Jupiter. We're going to work our way through the planets. We're going to do it.
Okay.
You know, this isn't like that Sufjan Stevens thing where he said, I'm going to do an album for every state, and then he made 2 and stopped. We're actually going to do it.
Is there going to be a Pluto?
You're going to have to stick around.
Okay.
8 years from now when we get to
I know
Pluto.
there's a Pluto. Pluto is a planet fans. And so...
I guess technically Pluto is a dwarf planet.
It is nowadays,
It's a planet.
Yeah.
And I'll make my case for it if we ever get there. But
a few million miles to go yet.
Yeah. And so, the way that we're doing this, we made Mercury. It's a pretty short EP. It's only 6 minutes something long. And so we're going to make each one of them proportional to the size of the planet. So as we get going and get to Jupiter, it's going to be like a bigger project. Okay. But we'll see if we stick with that. That's the plan. Anyway.
Get to the trans-Neptunian planets, and then you've got.
So Pluto would be like really short. Though.
Yeah.
It's like slightly bigger than our moon, I think. I don't know. Yeah. But
cool. And this is stuff that you were doing before the group coalesced.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It was like the order of things was write a bunch of songs. Oh, they sound like space. Oh, I have this idea to turn the songs into planets. And then it flipped around. It went, the planets. Now I'm thinking about it from planets. I'm going to start writing the songs specifically for them. And I played them for Mike and Milos, who are the 2 other guys in the band. And so originally it was me, but then once they got it, they were like, okay, here's what we're going to do with this. And it's being great because like I'm a guitarist at heart. And when a guitarist plays drums or a guitarist plays bass, they play it a certain way. It's not the right way. And just having like someone who comes in with the mentality of like another person adding their thing to the songs, it's made a big difference. And yeah, so now they've been a part of the entire recording process for all of this.
Okay. Any creative contributions, or is it all Tony that is the?
I wrote the initial thing. So, like I said, we started doing this during pandemic, right? And so it was not playing it in person was the original method of writing a song. So I would send them a track, and I would mix down. Here's a guitar track. Here's a bass track. Here's a drum track. you guys replace those last two, and we'll see what we come up with.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure. I was almost nervous to be like, if I send you the thing I did, will you just do what I... No. As soon as they got it, they're just like, no, you did it wrong. This is how it should be done. Yeah. And as soon as they sent it back, I was like, okay, this makes 100% sense. And that was neat. Like, for me, this idea of writing remotely, you know, when you spoke to the Gold Dust women earlier, they were like, oh, I don't know that we could write because we're so geographically far away. Mm-hmm. Even though we're in the same city, we might as well have been miles away, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was actually, I thought it was pretty good. Like, it was, you know, obviously I admit at the time I missed being in a room jamming with people and writing stuff together, but we seemed to figure it out pretty good, you know? Yeah.
I think the pandemic actually enabled that. A lot of people got the technology together when they couldn't meet in person anymore, and managed the long distance bands.
Yeah, for better or for worse. It's I don't miss it, but but yeah, I mean, it drove this anyways. It got us together, figuring out a way to do this from 3 separate places. And
3 separate places, 3 separate songs.
Three different tracks. Hopefully we cover quite a bit of ground. Like I said, there's a few different archetypes of surf or whatever. I think we hit 3 of them on this album. Icy Ghost Craters is more of a upbeat punk surf sort of thing. And the first one's just meant to be far out space synth surf, or whatever the heck that is. I don't know.
Have a listen to Icy Ghost Craters.
All right, featuring guest vocals at the beginning by Matt Charters, another local musician. So.
Okay. From the Saskatones, Icy Ghost Craters from the Mercury EP.
Awesome.
Craters at the poles of Mercury. Shadowlands untouched by the light of sun. Possible ice on a barren landscape. What else could survive? Icy Ghost Craters.
Short but pithy, the Icy Ghost Craters from the Saskatones. Salomone in the studio with me. You're doing a concert.
Oh, yeah. So, we're playing tomorrow. First time with this group of guys that we've performed together. So, we've actually played surf music together as sort of a one-off events before, but this will be our first time together as the Saskatones. So, pretty excited for it. We're playing Jane Bond, Uptown Waterloo. It's like an old haunt. I think I've played that place more times than I can count in my life with other bands, but it's been ages since I did a show there, like probably 7 or 8 years. So super excited to get back. And again, just one of those intimate, small venues where it's great. I like playing a room that's packed, you know. Right. I'd rather play that than a
small
room
packed room
twice the size with a few more people. It gives you the better energy. And it's a great room.
And you're right, they've been around forever. The Jane Bond.
I remember when they opened. This has been quite a while. Probably 95, 96-ish.
It predates me. I didn't get to the area here until about 2000 or so.
Yeah. It's interesting, like a lot of the places you think of that are like long time Waterloo, it was kind of defined in that era. Like I think they opened probably within 6 months of Ethel's as well around there. Okay. Really similar kind of time frame.
Ethel's is a bit more visible with the big sign out front.
Yeah.
But
I love the neon
been around
sign.
forever too.
Have you ever heard the story of that?
Tell me.
So Glenn Smith, speaking of blues, he used to run a blues venue in town called Pop the Gator. he alleges, he's one of those guys where I don't know if you can always 100% believe what he says, but he alleges that he just found it in Detroit. Basically, they were throwing it out, and he was so inspired by this sign, he bought it, and he's, I'm going to start a bar called Ethel's Lounge because I have this great sign.
So the sign created the venue rather than the other way around.
Yeah, brilliant, right? You need something to inspire you. Why not a great neon sign? I mean, it's a, what do you call it? A staple.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody recognizes that they're in Waterloo when they see the Ethel's Lounge sign.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. You played there? Do they have music?
They sometimes do like Saturday night, Well, actually, they've had full bands there.
Yeah.
But it's pretty tight, and usually they want, when I say bar band, like they want someone who's going to go in and do like a couple 40-minute sets or whatever, and kind of play that kind of music. So we haven't played there before.
Not a concert venue so much as a background music venue.
Yeah, I think so. And they're always, they're going to do pretty well on Saturday nights there usually, I think, no matter what.
Exactly.
Anyways. So, yeah.
I wouldn't think of going to Ethel's Lounge for music.
Yeah, but, if you go in there, I mean, it's music inspired place. It's amazing if you go all the walls. He's got concert posters from all these shows from the 60s and 70s that are I don't know, there's some really good stuff to look at in there. I love it.
I've never been to James Bond's. I've never been to the inside.
I mean, sure, I'm happy to do a pitch advertisement for them. But it's a place I loved. I've been going there for a long time. They have vegetarian food, so it's a great restaurant, great place to hang out at night. Usually they used to do a lot more concerts, like weekend kind of concerts. Now they tend to do more DJ nights on the weekend, but great venue. Nice patio. They got a patio out front, out back. Food's awesome.
Seems to be tucked away from the main street, though.
Yeah, I think it's like good though. I get a good crowd. It's like under control and keeps the riffraff out.
Right. And you're playing there tomorrow, Saturday?
Yeah, it's funny. We're doing an afternoon show. So I was like, all right, why not? We're different stage in life where I think a whole bunch of our fans are like, some of them are getting a bit older, some of them have kids, and they're like, hey, they want to come out and it was exciting to be able to do all ages show afternoon, daytime. The weather's still nice. It's like summer still, right?
Yeah. It's been really nice out the last couple of days.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's what I was imagining, and it looks like that's how it's going to play out. So yeah, I love it.
So what time is that?
Show's gonna be like 2 to 5, start to finish, whole thing. There's another band, Cobra Gemini Relic Bazaar from Brantford. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. They're great. The people in this band have all been in like famous Brantford bands before that, or outside of Brantford bands. So they're one of those sort of super group folks getting together groups. So I guess that's why they have so many words in their name, right? Got to cut through all that.
A little bit from everybody.
Yeah. So super excited to get to play with them. I think it'll be a good compliment vibe.
Okay, that's at Ethel's Lounge, 2 to 5.
James Bond.
Sorry. Oops. Edit that out in the podcast. You've got 3 songs on the album.
Yeah.
But like a couple of hours to play. What are you going to do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll probably play our 45-minute time frame, I figure. But so actually, the Saskatones do have a pile of music in the backlog. Before this, I wrote an album called On Monster Island. Before the Saskatones wrote songs about the planets, they wrote songs about monsters from Godzilla movies, which was what I was into at the time because I'm a little nerdy. So we got a few tracks from that. We'll play. We were just trying them out to see how they'd go. Oh man, some of these are really good energy to play live. So we're kind of selecting our faves there. And then at the other end, like I said, we're releasing Mercury now, but we've already recorded most of Venus. So we're going to debut a bunch of Venus tomorrow as well. Right. You'll get to learn all weird facts about Venus, like about its runaway greenhouse effect and what pancake domes are, if you can interpret that from the instrumental song. But
All right, so a bit of scientific knowledge along with some surf music.
Maximum nerdage on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Any chance of getting advanced copies for the radio station?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll send everything to radio. Yeah. First thing we do, especially local stations like CKMS, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that we get you guys that, and hopefully we super appreciate your support. We love this stuff. This show, you've got a couple on here that are great.
Squeeze in when you can get in here. I mean, I wasn't planning on being here today, but I just couldn't resist. It's,
that's awesome. Very much appreciated.
All the local music is turns my crank.
Yeah. So love the show, and thanks. Yeah, thanks for the support. We really appreciate it.
It goes for anybody else out there. If you've got a band, if you're playing a concert locally, let us know. Send an email to office@radiowaterloo.ca, and let us know that you've got something new to play on the radio, or you've got something new that you want to play in a local venue. Try and get you on a show like CKM's Community Connections or the Horizon Broadening Hour, which is where Richard Giles, Mophead, does all the new music that comes into the station. So.
I think Richard was one of the very first people to play a Saskatoon song on the radio, so huge credit to him. We did the whole thing, wrote to every community station in Canada, basically, and just sat down and bashed out the emails, and he responded within a day. So I was just, wow, that's awesome. I really appreciate
Helps
it.
that you're local, always looking for the KW content.
Yeah, I think that's true for most stations, right? They want to support their local community, obviously, but still very much appreciate it.
Okay. Got one more song on the album?
Yeah.
Mariner 10?
First Spacecraft, that went to Mercury.
Did it do anything useful, or was it one of those horrible things that crashed?
We learned all sorts of stuff about Mercury we never imagined would be possible. Including icy ghost craters. Who knew there's water on Mercury?
I wouldn't think that close to the sun there'd be anything that didn't evaporate on at a moment's notice.
Yeah, it turns out there's like certain spots where craters near the poles actually are in the shade all the time, all year.
Okay.
And so water's frozen.
Okay. Why ghost craters?
I don't know. Somebody came up with that name.
Okay.
It's supposed to describe the fact that they get no light.
Okay.
Ever. So
No light, no heat.
Yeah, that's why they're so cold. So.
It was Mariner 10 that discovered them?
I think I actually lied about that. I think they figured out the ghost crater thing later, but it was based on, Mariner 10 took all the imagery and some on the cover of the album, the thing on the people on the album, the texture or whatever, is from the picture that Mariner 10 took.
Okay. Have a look at that and have a listen to the Mariner 10 from the Saskatones. You can listen to CKMS Community Connections on CKMS FM, Radio Waterloo. CKMS Community Connections is sponsored by Radio Waterloo, produced by Jennifer Strong. Associate producer is Jeff Stager. My name is Bob Jonkman. We are every Monday at 11 o'clock and alternate Fridays at 3 p.m. Tony Salomone, thanks very much for coming into the studio and talking to us about the Saskatones playing tomorrow at Jane Bond, 3
Thank
o'clock.
you.